Skulls have been a long-running feature in Halo. Skulls were first introduced in Halo 2, allowing the player to activate certain effects to enhance the gameplay or change it to their liking. These Easter eggs were not just out in the open, however. Strategic locations to make the skulls a grind to get made getting all of them that much more satisfying. In this video, I am going to go over the 12 skulls that are available in Halo Infinite, their effects, their location, and the best way to get to them. I will do my best to cover the skulls in the order that you would come across them naturally in-game, but due to the beauty of Halo Infinite, your experience of the campaign may be totally different than how I experienced it. The skulls will be covered in sections: starting missions, open world skulls, going into skulls you aren't able to get until later in the campaign, and then the rest of the mission skulls. Starting at the beginning of the campaign, the Boom Skull can be found in the warship you're invading. This skull doubles the explosion radius of any explosive in the campaign. You're started out easy in this endeavor. After using the elevator in the first part of the mission, you will make your way past hallways of enemies and a room with a holographic assault rifle. Keep going into the next room until you encounter a bunch of jackals in one location. The next room is where the skull is located. After clearing the room of enemies, you can make your way to the right of the room from where you entered. Here you will find moving blocks along the side. Hop up on the second section you come across and you will find the skull's location. The COWBELL skull can be found in the Foundations mission. This skull increases the acceleration of any explosion. You won't have to worry about searching for it after you picked up the weapon and go through the cutscene. After the long and grueling elevator ride, you'll make your way down 2 hallways and into a wide open room with a hole in the middle. The skull you're looking for is up above. How you get to it is up to you. I provide one example of getting to it, but you can definitely be creative. Next on the list is the IWHBYD skull, or the I Would Have Been Your Daddy skull, in honor of a rare dialogue option from Avery Johnson in Halo Combat Evolved. Like its origin story, this skull allows you to experience rare combat dialogue more often. Once you have conquered Outpost Harmonious and flew down the map in the Pelican, you can eventually make your way to the tower mission. This skull can be found at the very top of the tower, and you will need to practice your grapple shot skills to make it there. As a quick side note, you may need to upgrade it to the 40% cooldown decrease. If you have too many issues making your way up to the tower this way, you can always leave it for further on in the story when you have access to a Banshee or Wasp. There are also some Easter eggs you can find atop the tower, including a guitar to play. Moving on, the Fog Skull can be found southwest of FOB Alpha, along the border of the map. This skull disables your reliable motion tracker. Like the previous skull, you can either practice your grapple shot ability or come back when you have access to a flying vehicle. Once again, if you are using your grapple shot, you may need to upgrade it for the 40% cooldown decrease. Inside of the columns is a small opening in the wall. I proceeded to go about this the hard way, but you can directly grapple from the ledge I landed on. The Blind Skull is much like the Fog Skull. This drawback consists of your HUD and weapon not displaying on your screen, rather than your motion tracker. In the southwest section of the map, you will come across a giant crevice in the ground south of the Carrera squad icon. The best way to get to where you need is to work your way along the west side of a canyon, eventually to a down squad of Marines. Keep dropping down one level at a time until you are at the edge. The skull is in an inlet on your left if you drop down once more. This may take a couple of tries. Next is the skulls you need either a Wasp or a Banshee to get to. First, we have the Thunderstorm skull. This skull upgrades the rank of most enemies. Most likely at this time, you'll be past the mission Pelican Down and moving into taking ownership of the 4 spires. If you locate FOB Juliet on the map, you can see north of there is a mission spire. To the west of the spire is a mountain peak with a UNSC audio log at the top. Southeast of the mountain peak, you'll find a small section with a single tall hexagonal spire. At the top of this hexagon piece is the skull. The black eye skull can be found in a location as pleasant as its name. This one enables you to regain your shield when you melee enemies, but only when you melee enemies. On the southern island, there is a waterfall about halfway between Fob Juliet and the Riven Gate Banished Outpost. The skull is located in a small cave behind the waterfall about halfway up. You will have to move close to the cliff in order to see, and would have to grapple up and crouch to access the tunnel. Like the blind skull, this may take you a couple of tries to get the hang of. Now that you have access to a wasp, make your way back to the island northwest of Outpost Harmonious at the beginning. Here you will find the catch skull. Like the name implies, you will have the opportunity to catch many more grenades thrown by enemies. On the plus side, enemies also drop more grenades as well. The skull is guarded by a pair of hunters, along with smaller enemies like grunts and elites. Once all the enemies are dead, you can find the skull nestled in a broken tree out in the open. The Famine skull is located on a small floating island at the eastern side of the map, just south of the mission spire in this section. Weapons dropped by enemies have half the ammo they would normally have with this skull in effect. For this island, you will have to take a wasp to get there. You will find many dead enemies here, including a dead elite on the backside of the peak, holding the precious cargo. Back to the mission-based skulls. After you conquer all of the 4 spires and head back to where you came from, the mission Nexus will begin. Make your way through this mission until you encounter a grav lift up to the command spire. The Mythic skull enables enemies to have increased health. After shooting and looting a vast amount of enemies, you will be teleported to an area where floating hexagonal pieces are being fabricated. Fight some more and follow the pillars to where they make a right-hand turn. After clearing this section of enemies, you will then need a grapple shot onto the floating hexagonal piece right before it turns. Grapple once more to a ledge above you, and again to a ledge located in the middle with a door. This hallway will take you to the skull resting on a platform in the middle of the room. This next one is probably the most iconic, and the most challenging to obtain. The Grunt Birthday Party skull is located during the mission repository. This skull enables grunt headshots to be followed by an explosion of confetti. Play throughout the mission a bit until you come to a giant, open room with a hardlight bridge and a central console. Interact with the console, watch the cutscene, and then head back to the first platform you entered the room at. You need a grapple shot to the platform on your right and make your way through the hallway here to grab the power seed. Make your way back to the open room and continue straight past the console so you can grapple shot to the platform on your left. Plant the power seed and return to the open room. Continue with the mission until the weapon directs you to look out of a window. Make your way through 2 more rooms. After that, the Grunt Birthday Party skull will be located in the 3rd room, above you and directly ahead. The power seed you planted previously in the mission, open this window to access the room of the skull. This skull is guarded by 4 cloaked elites, so caution is needed to proceed. Last on the list is the Bandana skull, a skull that grants unlimited ammo and grenades, along with removing equipment cooldown. In the Silent Auditorium mission, you'll have to go for a pacifist run. The skull will not be available at the end if you attack any sentinel drones along your way. You will meet up with Adjutant Resolution again, following him for a good bit. After activating a hardlight bridge, instead of continuing left, proceed straight across another bridge into a room. This room will contain a few destroyed sentinel drones, along with the Bandana skull if you didn't destroy any of the other sentinels. Congratulations, you now have all 12 hidden skulls in the Halo Infinite campaign. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content or would like to see more videos such as this one, make sure to stay in touch and I'll see you next time.
Unfreaking believable.